Hey guys, this is Austin. It might be small, but is the new MacBook worth it? A year later, the MacBook design hasn't changed much for good and bad. On the plus side, you're getting one seriously small laptop with a footprint that's just barely bigger than an iPad. The aluminum build still feels incredibly sturdy with no flex, and the thinness really does make it feel a step ahead of most other laptops. There are quite a few colors, including silver, space gray, gold, and new for this year, rose gold. It's not hard to imagine a future where nearly all laptops are this thin and light, but you've got to make some sacrifices. The port selection is about as basic as it gets, with a headphone jack and microphone on one side and a single USB-C port on the other. As ports go, this is a pretty full-featured one that handles charging, USB 3, and video out. However, it's not Thunderbolt 3, and having only one poses some problems. Something as simple as plugging a normal USB device requires an adapter, and if you want to charge the MacBook while also using a flash drive, you'll also need an adapter. USB-C support is becoming more common though. For example, the Samsung T3 drive will work natively. What's really cool is the Acer H7, which not only supports a 1440p monitor over USB-C, but it'll also charge the MacBook and give you a couple USB 3 ports. Not all USB-C cables are created equally though. For example, the included cable really only works for charging, but being able to power your laptop, get display out, and a hub over one tiny cable is awesome. Where you'll find the real upgrades though are inside. If you open up the MacBook, you'll see it's incredibly straightforward. There are a series of slightly upgraded batteries that fill all the empty space, along with the logic board that houses literally everything, including the processor, RAM, and SSD. Here, you'll find a Skylake-based Intel Core M CPU, which is passively cooled, meaning there's no fan, which makes the MacBook totally silent. Regardless of which model you go for, you're getting 8GB of memory, which is slightly faster than before, but you will find a big improvement in the SSD. There are still 256 and 512GB options, but they're significantly faster than before, especially when you compare write speeds. Unlike last year, there's actually a fairly big difference when you upgrade. The base model comes with a Core M3 and 256GB of storage, where the upgraded model bumps that up to a Core M5 and 512GB SSD. While you're getting fairly low base speeds, the boost clocks bring it up to normal laptop levels, which you should be seeing for everything besides heavy tasks like gaming and editing. There's a pretty major difference in CPU performance in Geekbench, where the mid-spec model is approaching the 13-inch MacBook Pro. The new MacBooks also have HD 515 graphics, which while not a huge change, are still a modest improvement over last year. That means you can actually do some video editing on the MacBook. While it's not exactly meant for it, I edited this entire video on the Core M5 MacBook inside Final Cut, and it works fine. It gets a bit slow at times, but considering this is 4K footage, it's really not bad. It's also capable of some light gaming as well. Titles like Tomb Raider aren't officially supported, but if you turn the settings down, you're able to get it to be playable. It's the same story with Dota 2. On low, it's actually able to keep a perfectly respectable frame rate. Older titles like Portal 2 are easy to run, and Minecraft as always is no problem, even on a relatively low powered system like this. Since it's passively cooled, I wanted to see how warm it gets under load, and surprisingly, it's really not bad. The top of the keyboard does get slightly warm, but it's not enough to be uncomfortable. It might not be a gaming PC, but it is impressive how well this works as a laptop. It's got a solid 12-inch screen with a resolution of 2304 by 1440, and it's a really good display with impressive viewing angles and color. You're not giving anything up with the audio either. The MacBook has some surprisingly good front-firing speakers.
One area where the MacBook definitely falls short is with the webcam. It's only a 480p camera, and as you can see, it definitely leaves a lot to be desired.
The keyboard is a little different to most laptops though. It has wide, fairly shallow keys that take some getting used to. There's just not a ton of key travel. Considering the space constraints, the keyboard reaches all the way out to the edges with individual LED backlighting. Most people will get used to it easy enough, but I still prefer a more normal keyboard. There's absolutely nothing to complain about with the trackpad though. Not only is it huge for a laptop of this size, but the tracking is spot on, and the force touch gestures make this by far my favorite trackpad out there. There's a lot to like with the MacBook. Clearly, Apple spent a lot of time giving you a laptop in as small and light a package as possible without sacrificing the essentials like the screen and battery life. The single USB-C port means there's no getting away from adapters anytime soon though, and the price means you really are paying a premium for the tiny size. It's a surprisingly good laptop, but it's meant for a very specific person. Speaking of, I recently spent some time with the new iPad Pro to see if it can actually replace a laptop. Definitely go check that video out, and I will catch you in the next one.